On Christmas morning, my own son handed me a gift box, and when I opened it, it was completely empty. I smiled at him anyway, because when you're old, you learn something early. You don't show pain to people who planned it. I'm 76 years old. My hands shake sometimes, my knees complain in the cold, but my mind? Oh, my mind still remembers everything. The box was red, shiny, tied with a gold ribbon like it had something important inside. My son stood there, shifting his weight from one foot to the other. His wife stood next to him, arms folded, lips pressed into a polite little smile. "Go on, Mom," he said. "Open it." So I did. I lifted the lid. Nothing. No card. No tissue paper. No note tucked in the corner. Just air. I blinked once. Then again. I tipped the box gently, like maybe something had slipped underneath. Nothing fell out. "Oh," my daughter-in-law said quickly, laughing too loud. It's kind of symbolic." Symbolic. I looked up at my son. He wouldn't meet my eyes. "What's it supposed to symbolize?" I asked. He sighed, already tired, like I was the problem. "Well, you know, at your age, you don't really need things anymore." Ah, there it was. That sentence people use when they've already decided you're done receiving. I nodded slowly, smiled softly. "Of course," I said. "That makes sense." Inside, something went very quiet. They stayed maybe 15 minutes after that. Drank coffee, talked about traffic, mentioned how expensive life is these days. Not once did they ask if I was okay. When the door closed behind them, the house felt colder. Not because of the weather, because of what had been confirmed. I sat at the table staring at that empty box. It wasn't about money. It wasn't about gifts. It was about being told without words, "You are finished." I ran my fingers along the edge of the box and let out a small laugh. "All right," I whispered. "I hear you." Because what they didn't know, what they never bothered to ask, was that I still had choices, and I was done being polite about them. 3 days later, I went shopping, not for them, but for myself. And what I bought would make that empty box the smallest mistake they ever made. 3 days passed after Christmas. No phone call. No apology. No message asking if I liked their symbolic gift. Silence is loud when it's intentional. On the 4th morning, I put on my good coat, the blue one with the deep pockets, and drove myself into town. Yes, I still drive. And yes, I drive just fine. The first place I went wasn't a store. It was an office. Glass walls. Soft music. Young receptionist with tired eyes. "Can I help you?" she asked. "Yes," I said. "I'd like to buy myself a Christmas gift." She smiled. "What kind?" I leaned in just a little. "My will." Her smile froze. 2 hours later, I walked out with documents neatly stacked in a folder. Names reviewed. Decisions made. For the first time in years, everything was clear. Then I went somewhere else. A jewelry store. Quiet. Warm lights. I picked out a simple gold necklace. Nothing flashy. Just something solid. "Is this for someone special?" the saleswoman asked. I smiled. "Yes. Me." That evening my phone buzzed. A message from my son. "Hey Mom, we're stopping by tomorrow. Got you something else. Want to make things right." I stared at the screen for a long moment. Then I set the phone down. Because the gift I had prepared for them? Oh honey, it didn't come in wrapping paper. Tomorrow, they'll walk through my door expecting forgiveness. But what I hand them instead will leave them absolutely speechless. They arrived the next afternoon, right on time. My son knocked like he always does. 2 quick taps, 1 pause, then another tap. Like muscle memory. Like this house still belonged to him somehow. I opened the door slowly. "Merry Christmas again," he said, forcing a smile. His wife stepped in first, holding another gift bag this time. Smaller. Lighter. The kind people grab last minute to ease their conscience. "We didn't want to leave things weird," she said. Weird. I stepped aside and let them in. The house looked the same. Same couch. Same photos. Same quiet dignity they never noticed unless they wanted something. We sat at the kitchen table. The gift bag slid toward me. "This one actually has something in it," my son said with a nervous laugh. I didn't reach for it. Instead, I folded my hands and looked at them both. You know, I said calmly, I've been thinking a lot since Christmas morning. My son nodded quickly. Yes, too. We realized maybe we were insensitive. Insensitive. I smiled. That's one word for it. I stood up slowly and walked to the hallway cabinet. Pulled out a folder. Thick. Heavy. Neat. I placed it on the table between us. What's this? My daughter-in-law asked. My Christmas gift, I said. My son frowned. Mom, what are you talking about? I opened the folder. Inside were documents. Signed. Stamped. I went shopping 3 days ago. I continued. I bought myself peace. His smile faded. I slid one paper forward. That, I said, tapping it once, is my updated will. The room went quiet. Very quiet. My son swallowed. Updated how? I leaned back in my chair. Well, I said softly, I realized something when I opened that empty box. They both leaned in. When you give someone nothing, I continued, you're telling them you expect nothing back. His wife shifted uncomfortably, so I listened. I slid another page forward. My house, I said, no longer goes to you. My son's chair scraped loudly as he stood up. What? He snapped. Mom, that's not funny. Oh, I'm not joking, I replied. It goes to charity now. A women's shelter. They know how to appreciate a roof. His face went pale. You can't be serious, he said. That house is our inheritance. I tilted my head. Inheritance, I repeated. Isn't that something you receive when someone values you? His wife grabbed his arm. Sit down. He didn't. You did this because of a stupid box, he shouted. I shook my head slowly. No, I said. I did this because of what the box meant. He thought I'd gone too far, but I hadn't even shown him the last page yet. Sit, I said quietly. Something in my voice made him listen. He dropped back into the chair. I reached into the folder one last time and pulled out the final document. This, I said, is the part you didn't expect. I turned the page around so they could read it. My daughter-in-law's eyes widened first. Then my son's mouth slowly fell open. What is this? He whispered. A trust, I said. In my name. He shook his head. You said the house. The house goes to charity, I finished. But everything else? I leaned forward. Everything else goes to me. They stared. I sold a portion of the land behind the house last year. I continued. I invested wisely, quietly, carefully. His wife finally spoke. How much? I smiled. Enough that I'll be very comfortable for the rest of my life. My son laughed nervously. Mom, you don't need all that. We're family. Family? That's funny, I said. Because family doesn't hand their mother an empty box and call it symbolism. Silence. Then I stood up, picked up the small gift bag they'd brought, and placed it gently on the counter unopened. You can take that back, I said. I don't need replacements. My son's voice cracked. So that's it? You're cutting us off. I looked at him carefully. No, I said. You cut yourself off when you decided I was already gone. They left shortly after that. No shouting. No apology. Just shock. When the door closed, I sat back down and exhaled. Peace feels heavy at first. Then it settles. That evening, I put on my new necklace and looked at myself in the mirror. I didn't look bitter. I looked free. They thought the story ended when they walked out, but the real consequences were just beginning. The first call came the next morning. I was buttering toast when my phone buzzed across the counter like it had something urgent to confess. My son's name lit up the screen. I let it ring. After 76 years, you learn this too? Not every call deserves an answer. 10 minutes later, a text arrived. Mom, please call me. We need to talk. Need. Such a heavy word for someone who gave so little. By noon, the calls multiplied. My sister. A cousin I hadn't heard from in years. Even my church friend Marlene left a voicemail that started with, I don't want to take sides, but... I listened to none of them. Because here's what happens when an old woman finally says no. People panic. They assume you've lost your mind. That grief made you reckless. That you don't understand what you're doing. If only they knew. That afternoon, I walked to the mailbox. Inside was a handwritten note. From my daughter-in-law. Careful handwriting. Soft words. We're worried about you. This doesn't feel like you. Families forgive. Please don't let pride ruin everything. I laughed out loud. Pride. Funny how dignity always gets mislabeled when it stops being convenient. I folded the note neatly and placed it in the drawer with the others. The ones I reread whenever I need reminding. That evening, my son showed up. No call. No warning. Just a knock. Slower this time. Cautious. I didn't open the door. Mom, he called through the wood. I know you're home. Of course I was home. Where else would I be? We can fix this, he said. You're being emotional. That word again. I stepped closer to the door, but didn't unlock it. I'm being clear, I replied. Silence. Then his voice softened. I didn't mean it the way you took it. I rested my forehead against the door. You meant it exactly the way you did, I said. You just didn't expect consequences. He stayed there a long time. I stayed quiet longer. Eventually, his footsteps faded. That night, I slept better than I had in years. But what he did next proved I'd made the right decision all along. 2 weeks passed. No visites. No knocks. Just silence. Then one Sunday morning a letter arrived. Not a text. Not a call. A letter. I knew before opening it, this one mattered. It was from my son. The handwriting was shaky. Uneven. Not rushed, just tired. Mom. I'm sorry. I didn't realize how much I hurt you. I thought you were strong enough to understand our joke. I see now that it wasn't funny. I stopped reading there. Joke. I continued. We're under pressure. Money, kids' life. I guess I saw you as someone who would always be there, no matter what. I didn't think you'd ever walk away. There it was. He didn't apologize for what he did. He apologized because it didn't work. If you reconsider, we can move past this. Families stick together. I folded the letter slowly, carefully. Then I picked up my pen. I hadn't planned to respond, but some lessons deserve words. I wrote. I didn't walk away. I stood still. You're the one who moved me out of your heart long before Christmas. Love doesn't test how little you can give and still be forgiven. I wish you well. Mom. I mailed it the same day. That evening, I poured myself a glass of wine, just a little, doctor's orders, and sat by the window watching the sun go down. I didn't feel angry. I felt finished. I thought that would be the end. But life had one more surprise waiting for me. I wasn't expecting company that afternoon. The kettle was on. The house was quiet in that gentle, earned way. Then the doorbell rang. Not rushed. Not guilty. Just respectful. When I opened the door, my breath caught. It was my granddaughter. My son's daughter from his first marriage. She stood there holding a paper bag, and a look that told me she already knew everything. Grandma, she said softly. Can I come in? That word. Grandma. I stepped aside. She didn't look around like she was judging. She didn't rush to fill the silence. She sat at the table like she belonged there. I heard about Christmas, she said. About the box. I nodded once. She shook her head slowly. That wasn't okay. Just like that. No excuses. No, but he's stressed. No, family is family. She reached across the table and took my hand. I want you to know something, she said. Whatever happens with him, I'm on your side. Something warm settled in my chest. Not relief. Validation. I don't want anything from you, she added quickly. I just didn't want you to think everyone saw you the way he did. I squeezed her hand. That night, we ate soup together and talked about books and small things. Normal things. When she left, she hugged me tight. You did the right thing, she whispered. After she drove away, I stood in the doorway for a long moment. Because sometimes, the universe makes sure you're not alone when you finally stand up for yourself. I didn't know it yet, but choosing myself had already started changing everything. It started quietly. A week later, I heard through Marlene at church. Your son's having a rough time, she said gently. Work trouble. I nodded. Then another call came. A cousin this time. They're selling their house, she said. Something about debt. Ah. Funny how fast confidence disappears when there's nothing left to lean on. Then one afternoon my phone buzzed again. A number I didn't recognize. I answered. Mom, my son said. His voice sounded different. Smaller. I just wanted to let you know, we're going through some things. I waited. We might need help, he said quietly. Help. I closed my eyes for a moment. Not because I was tempted. Because I was grieving the fact that he still didn't understand. I can't help you, I said calmly. A sharp inhale on the other end. So you're really going to let us struggle? I opened my eyes and looked around my kitchen. The photos. The plants. The life I built. I struggled quietly for years, I said. You never noticed. Silence. Then he asked, is this punishment? I shook my head. No, I said. This is the result. He didn't argue. He just said okay. And hung up. That night, I slept soundly. Because karma doesn't shout. It doesn't humiliate. It simply removes the safety net people thought they were entitled to. And just when I thought the story had settled, he showed up one last time. It was just after sunset when I heard the knock. Not the old knock. Not the confident one. This one was slow. Uneven. Like he wasn't sure he should be there. I knew it was him before I opened the door. He looked older. Tired. Smaller than the man who once handed me an empty box and called it symbolism. Hi, Mom, he said. I didn't step aside. We stood there between inside and outside. Between past and present. I'm not here to ask for money, he said quickly. I just needed to see you. I studied his face. You already did, I said. On Christmas. His shoulders dropped. I didn't think you'd actually choose yourself, he whispered. Ah. That one hurt in a different way. I didn't think I had a choice for a long time either, I replied. He looked past me into the house. Everything's the same, he said. I shook my head. No, I said softly. I am. He nodded, tears sitting heavy in his eyes. I'm sorry, he said. I really am. I believed him. But belief doesn't undo damage. I forgive you, I said. But forgiveness doesn't reopen doors. He swallowed hard. Will you ever call me? He asked. I paused. I'll always love you, I said. But I won't disappear again just to keep you comfortable. He nodded once. Then he turned and walked away. And for the first time, I didn't chase him with my eyes. I thought that was the end of my story, but it turned out to be the beginning of someone else's. It's been months now. The house is quiet in a good way. The kind of quiet that doesn't ache. My granddaughter visits every Sunday. We drink coffee, argue about books, laugh. The necklace I bought myself still rests against my chest. I kept the empty box. Not out of bitterness. Out of clarity. Because that box taught me something important. You are never too old to be disrespected. And you are never too old to stop allowing it. People will call you dramatic, cold, selfish. What they really mean is, you changed the rules. And when you do that, the ones who benefited from your silence always feel cheated. If you're listening to this and your hands are shaking the way mine once did, please hear me. Love doesn't shrink you. Family doesn't empty you. And age does not erase your right to dignity. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is close the box, stand up slowly, and choose yourself. This story isn't just mine. It's a lot of people's reality. Tap like, subscribe for more powerful stories. And tell me in the comments, what would you have done in my place?